Hello everyone. So today I'm going to explain like how we are going to handle any exceptions in Spring Boot. What is the like approaches? So for example, if we are going to like write any kind of APIs or anything, so for that we need to handle those exceptions. So what is the basically like structure for creating any controllers and service layer and the DAO layer? So basically for creating any project, first of all we need to create one controller where we have written different types of APIs, and from each APIs it's actually talking with the any service layer, and the service layer basically is responsible to talking with the DAO layer if necessary, kind of the validations and all the informations means business logic and validations, all the input fields, whatever the we need to kind of put some extra validation like business kind of validations. So those validation steps we write in the service layer, and accordingly we can communicate with the DAO layer if needed, and we can fetch data or save data or update data based on the like need. Accordingly we can do perform those operations based on the scenarios. Now so there are actually multiple approaches suppose from the service layer, instead of catching those exam, we can either catch those exceptions, whatever the exception it is. It's a kind of any compilation exceptions or whatever the exception it is, like we need to handle over checked exception or unchecked exception, we can handle over there, and from there you can throw those exception. And in the controller layer also, for each APIs we are going to write the try and catch for all those APIs. So suppose in a one controller we are having a 10 APIs or maybe 15 APIs, that depends on our business need. So we need to write more, like lot of boilerplate scores into in using the try catch, right? So this is looks very like we are repeating like writing the same logic over there. So this is the one of the approach, like we need to write the try catch for each service layer, each REST API means in the endpoints, all those things. Or another approach is to like global exception handler. So today I'm going to explain about the what is global exception handler and how we are going to implement this particular exception handler in our project. So like managing those errors in a project is one of the most important aspects, since it's crucial for server to work continuously and correctly, right? Handling errors and the exceptions that may occur in our program flow, uh, it can be like in a manner of the whenever it's it can be runtime exception, sometimes it can be checked exception or maybe custom exception. Okay, so if we are not going to handle those exceptions, then maybe in the from where is this particular API actually integrated, though, so they are not able to get the actual kind of the messages like what is happening. Instead of that, they will get some means unnecessary text over there. So if the like project is a big project, then number of possible exception also will grow. So thereafter, the managing those exception we need to handle in certain way so that it will structurally, so that it will maintain properly, right? So that's why global exception handler is centralized to handle of exceptions that may occur during any kind of the request and return the appropriate response to the user. Okay, so when any exception like occur, the Spring Boot application actually redirect it to the global exception handler, whatever we are going to write over there. Depending on the specific type of exception, depending the type of exception, basically global exception handler can generate the messages what we can customize over there. Also I'll show you how we are going to write the global exception handler. So this global exception handler basically help us to provide more meaningful error messages to the clients. It can also be used to provide the put the log in detailed informations about the exceptions. Okay, so for that what we're going to do over here, so first of all we are going to write one controller. So from there we are going to write some like APIs which will basically, for example, get, post, and something like that. So let me create one class over here. For example, we are going to create one product controller. Let's even we can create another package for this also. Like let me create the package first. Instead of exception, then dot controller. Okay, so here basically we can to move this controller over here instead of keeping inside of this one. Okay, so now in the controller basically we are going to use this REST controller. Okay, it's not coming. Let me check the pom.xml. Okay, I guess, or I am assuming like you guys are already aware like how we are going to create the Spring Boot project. Already I have related tutorial for this one, so you guys can check out from my channel so that you guys can understand like how we are going to create. I'm not explaining this one as I'm trying to cover this how we are going to manage this global exception handler. So as you can see, there is a that we need to use this Spring Boot starter web dependencies over here for using the kind of creating the APIs and all those things. Spring Boot starter web. Yes. So this actually basically we are going to use version is not needed as it will be taken care from this parent pom. So once we have created, then we are able to like access those REST controller and other like you can see. Okay. So this is the like we are going to use, and then like we can use some kind of the mapping over here like request mapping. We can provide like slash APIs, and here basically we are going to create APIs, okay, which will basically uh, like kind of for example find all product. Okay, it will be a public, then it will be a get mapping. Okay, as we are fetching all the product from the and we need to provide some mapping over here like get or maybe find all. Okay, simplicity. And then it will basically talking with the service layer. So I will write another service layer. So first of all, I'm just keeping writing those APIs endpoint over here. Then like find all, find by ID. Okay, find by ID. It will be also same find by ID. And we can also write another method which will basically save the data into the database like save product. Okay, or here we can mapping as a save. Okay. Now like we are going to write one service layer service method. So let me create another package over here. Instead of controller we can put it as a service layer. Okay, now we are going to like create a class something like product service. Okay, so here basically we are going to like write all those related to the which will basically uh, write some kind of the business kind of operations. We can business logic, and if we want to save or update data into the database, so those kind of logic we can put over in this service layer. So it will be a service, we need to annotate with the service layer. So first of all we need to use this find all method. Okay, so what it will do, it will basically fetch the data from the database and return us to the. So for that we need to create one entity, and then we also need to create one repository. So let's create another class like for example products. Okay, it's having a like entity, it will be entity, right? Okay, so for that as we are not getting, so for that basically we need to use the JPA. Okay, so let me add the another dependency, Spring Boot starter JPA data JPA. Yeah, this one. This one we are going to use over here. Now we can get this. We are able to access the entity. Still not. Let me check why it is not coming. Yes. Now it is coming, right? So we can put this one, and getter setter also you can put, or just keep it simple. Okay, so it's having a like kind of private id, uh, int id, or maybe we can use the long id, then private string name. Okay, or just means like keep it as simple, so I'm not putting another variables over here. So now we can create the getter and setter. We can avoid this one just using the lombok, so I'm not using lombok over here, just I'm using is as a getter setter, and it will be id because it's a primary key of the table. And generation type, like how it will generate it, so it will be a strategy. So it will be a generated value. Then over here there is one type like generation type generator, or instead of that there is another option called strategy. Yeah, this one. And here we can use generator type. Yes, this one. This will be identity. Okay, so as we are going to use the like h2 databases, so it will be save data into the in-memory database. Instead of that we can also use some other databases like MySQL, Oracle, all those things. So the entity creation is done now. Next we are going to create one repository. So for that we need to create one interface. So for example product repository. Okay, so it will basically implement the JPA repository. This one implements JPA repository. And here we are going to use this entity and comma the primary key. Okay, okay, it will be not implement, it will be extends. So as it is a class. Okay, we need to import this one, and let me check what it is saying. So it seems resolved because we need to clean up the Maven and all those stuff, so then it should work. So now basically we are going to use this particular repository over here. So for that we are going to use this auto await and private product repository, and then now we are going to use this method dot find all. Okay, so it will, from here we can return list of product. Okay, and it will be, instead of private it will be a public. Now we can use another one like find by id. So it's a find all, then find by id. So it will return, instead of list it will return only one product, find by id. And in input we'll get one input like long id, long id. Okay, and find by id, find by id. Okay, and here we are going to pass this id, so it will return this one. Change this. Okay, instead of optional, like we can use this dot get. Okay, So this two is done now. Next, like we can create another method which is basically save data. So for that also, we can use something like dot save. uh, just let me create this method also. So it will take the product as a input, because we will get this data in a request body, and instead of this we are going to directly use the save, or let me, yeah, entity. So here we are going to use this one, product. Okay, so this is basically the service layer now is done. Now from the controller, here we are going to inject this service layer. Auto add private product service service. Okay, and from this we are going to use those methods. Like for this find all, here basically we are going to use this find all one. Okay, so that it will, and from here we are going to use this return, and return type this. Next, product service dot find by id, and it will take one input like id, and here we are going to use request param, request param long id. Okay, so it will, we can here also return from something over here, change the return type this, and from the saved we can't use the request body, as it will come as a request body. So here request body product, then product, and here dots saved. Okay, so this is the, like, now this layer is done now. So basically what we will do, we will suppose we are trying to find all data, but if it is doesn't have anything, then it will doesn't return anything. And over here if we pass some IDs, but if it doesn't have any data, then it will throw some exception. Okay, even if we are trying to one product, for example the ID is 1. Now we have saved the product which having ID into our database. Now in the second time, if we are trying to provide the same information, we are trying to insert the same ID into database, then it will actually check from the database that particular ID is available or not. If it is available, then we should throw some exception, but in our current code it will not handle. Okay, so for database, we need to use the, as I was talking, like we need to use them in-memory database. So for that we need to provide some information over here, like spring dot h2 dot h2 console dot enable equals to true. Okay, and next basically we are going to use the another, like here we are going to use the memory in, we need to provide the URL, so it will be a products. Okay, so this is done now. Next basically we are going to, let me start this. First of all, let start this application, so that we can check all the APIs is working fine or not. It will not take much time. In a state started. Okay, okay, h2 is not started. The reason behind is, like, we need to use the databases, we need to provide the dependencies over here. Okay, h2 like this dependency we are going to use over here, so that we can use the h2 database in memory database. Let's start this application again. It will not take much time. It will like taking little bit of time of it. Now you can see it started actually. Yes, it started right in 880 port. So you can like access the H2 database in the 880 port. Okay. Don't get initialized. Okay. So here basically I have added few things. So let me explain. First of all, I have added this source SQL tool so that we can in the console we can get the SQL kind of thing. As you can see over here, like the products table is there, so create table is automatically is done by this JP is over there. So as we are going to use this H2 database, so that's why this kind of SQL is auto means create table DDL kind of auto generated. Okay, and this H2 console is available is here. As you can see, this is the URL, and this is the URL for this like getting the uh, like for accessing the H2 UI kind of thing. I will show you like something like this one. So here basically this table is over here. So as you can see, this table doesn't have. Okay, let me reconnect again. Okay, so as you can see, the ID and name, these two fields over here. Uh, like if we open the product table, so these two tables, ID and name. Okay, so this is already done. So let me clear this console first, and then I have like mapped this API. We're going to use this one find by ID. So let me, if I hit, so as the initially the data was not there in the table, so it will throw the exception. So how it will look like. So you can see this is a exception that we are getting in a response of this particular service, right? So this is not a good experience if this particular API is consumed by any client or any from Angular, from React or any other controller, any other client actually it's consumed. So this is not a good thing, right? To send those kind of error. So instead of that, maybe we need to send some kind of the something like uh, kind of generalized message so that user can understand, right? So for that we are going to create two customize exceptions. So let me show you how you're going to create those exceptions. So for example, let me create the one class product not found. This is the one custom exception. Okay, and this is basically extend the runtime exception. Okay, and let me stop this one. Okay, it will extend the runtime exception, and we need to create one constructor over here with messages product not found. Okay, so it's having a message, and from here we are going to call this super message. Okay, and it will be obviously a public. What it is saying that okay, we can add this one, no issues with that. So this is the that means this is one exception that is done over here, and another one we can create like product already exist. Okay, so let me create this one product already exist. Okay, so these two exception is now customized exception is creation is done. Next basically we are going to use these exceptions from the service layer. For example, if you are going to use this find by ID, so here basically we'll check first. So if means find by ID, so here the two approach. If it is getting, then is fine, or else here actually it's or else we can throw some exceptions. Okay, so this is going to kind of lambda exception product not found exception, and here we are going to pass the messages like product not found. Okay. Okay, it will be a or else throw. Okay, so now if we check this one, you can start the application. Okay, it started. Now if we hit this one, so let's see. Okay, still not connected. Let me check. It started already. So yeah, so still we are getting, because if we check the console over here, so it will, you can give this one, but still we are getting this kind of exception. So but we are going to in a response we need to give some kind of proper messages so that user can understand, right? So for that we need to create one global exception handler. So let me create this one. Okay, new class, global exception handler. Okay, so it's having a, basically you need to use some kind of the advice which is Spring provide, controller advice, this one. Okay, and then we can write our own method over here. For example, like the for example public, uh, it will return some kind of response entity, and here it will be a object. And then we can check like we can write the method like handle product not found exception. Okay, and here it will take this product not found exception. Okay, not found. Okay, so from here basically we are going to return some messages, something like this. Okay, or you can just rename it with this exception. Okay, so what we are doing, okay, here basically we are going to use another one thing like this. There is one annotation like exception handler, and here basically we need to pass those like exception like product not found, product not found dot class. So this class also we need to pass over here. So this is we are going to write. That means whenever any product not found will come, then it will come over here. So in the service basically we are in the from the service class we are throwing this exception. If it is not available, then it will come over here and it will give us the some messages like this internal server error. So let's check this one so that you guys can understand. As you can see over here, here it is internal server, but we are getting this message. That means whatever the message we are returning from over here, this body, so those messages we can see over here. So this is the approach that we can like we can use. Similar kind of pattern we can follow for the save also and find all also. Like if those datas are not available, even for the here also we can check like first of all it's having ID, right? And first of all we need to check with this ID. Then like if we check if it is not null, that means product is already over there in the database. So in the same time we can throw the product already exists exception from over here. And similar fashion here we can create another method with product already exist exception handler, and it will throw the some other messages. So in the over here we'll get the same thing. So this is the overall thing. You guys can try to create another method. Just try to similar kind of pattern. Like you guys can create here for another method for it will actually handle the like product already exist, so that and from over here you guys can like try to create the same fashion, like you guys find by ID, and if it is not available then you guys can insert, else it will throw the product already exist. So you guys can try and let drop a comment if it's working fine or you guys are facing any issues. I will happy to help, and please subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.